I'm Scully, the author that reads to you. Today, we're going to be reading Chapter 2, so buckle your seatbelt. It's quite the ride, and we'll see you on the other side. The last day in August started with two 19-year-old Belgian women dressed to kill. Both had on leather miniskirts with lace stockings, and each sported enough makeup to suit a couple of French whores. They had come to South Holland to buy a large quantity of hashish and, by the looks of them, to seduce the weed tender into a better deal. Jimmy Dempsey, known simply as Hunt by the locals in Ternosian, South Holland, would not be swayed. He dealt with their kind on a daily basis. "Kimmy here, she gives one hell of a blowjob if the price is right," the brunette with blue eyes said in Flemish. "She'll take care of you in ways you can't imagine, and I can even join in if you like." She left the statement with a wink. Hunt smelled fresh minty breath emanating from the feline's words. He was tempted. However, he said, "For the quality you're getting, baby cakes, 15 a kilo's a good deal." "What if we up the order next time? Say 10 kilos. Would that lower the price?" 10 kilos? That's a tall order for two lovelies like yourselves. He wondered what they were up to. Perhaps they did have a clientele. 12's about the best we can do. Otherwise, take the Katama hashish for 10. It's nearly as good. What's a kilo of the Tabisla? If everything works out, we'll be back for more, much more. Could be legit, Hunt told himself. Such was how long-term relationships were established. Okay then, a kilo it is. He removed 4 250-gram plates from under the bar. Instinct told him that these women would be smuggling the goods in their vaginas, so he said, "You want me to fix them up for you?" Kimmy batted her eyelids several times and said, "If you don't mind, we're going to have to do the dirty deed." Hunt said, "I'll shape them up real good for you. Do you need some Vaseline?" "What we need," Kimmy said, batting her long fake eyelashes, "is for you to help." "Sorry, girls, I got work to do." Hunt took their money, then turned to Rutger, one of his partners, and said, "Rut, can you help the ladies?" After he finished with the ladies, Rutger saw that the coffee shop overflowed with people. Lined up into the foyer were Belgians, French, English, and Germans. Such was a typical day. Those who had their turns at the bar now were over on the paisley sofas, smoking, speaking in their foreign tongues, enjoying a day away from their countries where such activity was verboten. Cannabis smoke drifted in heavy patches, and on it went for hours, until they ran out of stuff and had to get more. Dijkstraat, a kilometer of brick road that split the centrum in half, sat in the middle of a vein of 47 coffee shops, a smoker's paradise, a metropolis for dealers coming from all parts of Europe to dwell in Ternosian's lucrative soft drug market. Ternosian's coffee shops? Most of them were nothing but old flats converted into pot dens, with makeshift bars to cut hashish and fill orders. Each year, in these shops alone, millions of guilders were brokered. They were unlike the shops in Amsterdam and Rotterdam, which sold mainly retail. No, these were the wholesalers for Europe. The people who worked in these shops were called weed tenders or dealers, and it took at least 2 of them, preferably 3, to run a den. One guy to cut, and 2 guys to control the crowd. There was serious shit going on, with serious consequences, so the rule of thumb was that you didn't fuck around. As he worked the line, Hunt thought about how he probably wouldn't have made it in this soft drug industry had it not been for Rutger. The platinum gangster had taught him well what went on behind the scenes with the coffee shop owners, how the business operated as a whole, what to expect when haggling with street dealers, how to handle the situation when the cops got involved, what countries the products originated from, how to deal with gangsters during confrontations, and, most importantly, the differences between the various factions in Holland. Not to mention Rucker had a reputation for being one of the toughest men in South Holland. A stout fellow he was, give or take a pound from 100 kilos of muscle-bound flesh. The mobster was covered in scars from head to toe. Memoirs of barroom brawls and jobs gone awry. His hair was as blonde as an albino's, and he kept it slicked back into a ponytail. With a deep baritone voice, he spoke Dutch in a Zeus Vlaanderen lilt, Holland's version of the southern drawl. "We need a few things," Hunt said. "We're running low on a lot of stuff." This was the time it always got scary, when one man was left to tend to the shop. Rucker got up and said, "Where's Yanny?" He said he had to meet with his brother for something. He said he'd be back, just go. "You got a list?" "Just pick up a bunch of shit, we're almost out of everything." Rucker wasted no time heading for the door. "Back in a jiffy." "And please, Rutt, don't make any pit stops. Get the shit and come right back." That moment, Yanny Fisser rolled into the coffee shop. "Going on a run, Rutt?" "We're out of everything. They hit us hard a couple of hours ago." As Rucker shook Yanny's hand, he added, "How's your brother?" "Yar's fine. He's heading to Prague for a few days." "Prague? Must be nice." Rucker looked back to Hunt, then said, "Hold down the fort till I get back. The American's got his hands full." Hunt knew that Rucker would stop off for a drink, regardless of the situation. The routine had grown old. Hunt then thought, "Thank God Yanny showed up." Nearly an hour passed, and Rucker still hadn't returned with the goods. The customers had grown anxious and quite perplexed for having to wait so long in such a scene. These were difficult times. Customers would be lost because of Rucker's bullshit. Constantine Vanderpool, the boss of the organization, expected smooth operations. Hands down, he was possibly the most dangerous man in South Holland. And here was Rucker fucking up again, day after day, week after week. Hunt had heard the whispers around town that Rucker was on the hard dope and that he'd been seen coming out of the Tollenstraat area. Not only once, but numerous times. Tollenstraat, the heavier part of town, 2 streets over from Dijkstraat. A minute's walk but a world away, a junkie's Eden. If Rucker was in fact on the hard stuff, and Constantine got wind of it, Hunt knew that Rucker was a goner. Hunt and Yanny continued to appease the crowd. In line, Hunt noticed 2 men harassing customers. They were French, probably from Lille, a rough gangster city across the border into France, and they had glassed over, coked out looks in their eyes and seemed to be looking for trouble. Dangerous people come from Lille, Rucker had told him many times, and Hunt sensed just that, danger. He looked over at Yanny, who was already monitoring the situation. The rowdy men were taunting some of the patrons, getting in their faces and demanding hits off their joints. The mood in the room had changed in an instant. Hunt thought about the gun, a Beretta 9mm, usually hidden under the bar. Sometimes it got moved around, and today he wasn't sure where it was. His only other option was a Wilson aluminum baseball bat. Before he could wrap his hands around the handle of the bat, it was too late. The Napoleon-looking character had removed a pistol with a silencer. He waved it frantically, hollering in broken English, "Sie fucking hands up! Anybody moves and y'all fucking die!" The man's partner, a scraggly-looking fiend with bloodshot eyes, threw a burlap sack on the floor. "The money in the bag, all of you!" The Frenchman looked deranged. Hunt thought he had probably freebased right before busting into the shop. He began poking people in the chest with a gun similar to his counterpart, all the while cursing wildly in his native tongue. In their panicked states, the muggers began speaking rapidly to each other in busted French. Hunt had a difficult time following them, their animated conversation, their heated words. He wondered if the customers felt the same. Evidently they did, because everyone began emptying their pockets, taking off their rings and necklaces and watches, throwing them into the sacks. At that precise moment, things went south in a hurry. Hunt watched as Yanny Pfister slung a beer bottle at Napoleon and charged the Frenchman without regard to consequence. The bottle missed its mark as Napoleon ducked. He looked like a linebacker ready to make a tackle as he awaited Yanny's oncoming charge. Napoleon didn't need to worry. His partner riddled Yanny with 4 rapid spits from his pistol, sending the younger Pfister brother to the floor. Yanny fell backward and his head struck the floor with a sickening thud. He tried to lift his head upward but found it pinned down by an unknown force. The rest of his body was paralyzed as well. He stared motionless at Napoleon, who finished him off with a shot to the face. As soon as Hunt saw Yanny's nose blown off, he dove for cover. With lightning speed, on his elbows and toes, he scuttled like a frightened crab toward the back entrance, and the next second he was on his feet and on his way. Behind him, wood splintering, plaster cracking, unconsciously feeling for his chest. Am I struck? No blood on his chest, no blood. Thank God they missed. In a terrified gallop, Hunt raced for the back door. Before he knew it, he was in the park, where junkies and street dealers huddled in packs. Immediately, the squalid groups began throwing insults at him. 5 minutes later, the adrenaline rush had begun to subside, forcing Hunt to slow his pace. He kept moving forward, however, trudging along, walking, trudging, the whole time keeping a watchful eye on the junkies and street dealers, thinking, what the hell has happened to my life? It was difficult to say how pissed off he felt at that moment, how scared, how it felt like he was himself by a jungle of dangerous animals, how Rucker had left him alone despite the warnings he'd given his partner. Considering the circumstances, Hunt felt lucky to be alive. He could easily be sprawled out behind the bar with his blood and guts smeared against the walls of the coffee shop. He was already thinking of the answers to Constantine's questions. Yes, the men were French. Yes, they had guns. Yes, of course they meant business. Yes, Rucker was away from the shop, but he was only gone for a short time. I don't know, precisely less than an hour maybe. It all happened so fast. The story would go something like that. Yes. It was then that he found himself looking back on his time in Holland. In his heart, Hunt knew he'd substituted one prison for another, this Dutch prison. And in this Dutch prison, he was suddenly struck with an epiphany of sorts. Just like those prisoners back in Mississippi, he'd lost the ability to be with his family. Hell, at least they had weekend visits, he thought. Sure, he wasn't getting pounded up to can from the inmates, but then again, he might have gotten off. Sometimes you gotta take your medicine, his father would have told him. Why had he been such a coward? Selfish, so stupid. He'd become an angry man all of these years. Angry at himself, angry at the world, an angry man, period. Maybe his family would forgive him. Maybe they'd visit him in prison. But they buried him, for Christ's sake. Bloody hell, he said to himself. It'd take much to realize that in the end his own selfish reasoning had finally caught up to him. How could he expect them to understand it all? Hunt made it out of the park without incident. With a shaky hand, he pulled out his Nokia cell phone and dialed Rutger von Uss's telephone number. Along his left cheek, the platinum gangster fingered the scar he'd gotten years ago in a bar fight. It traversed the outer corner of his left eye to just under his cheekbone. As he tossed back the shot of Jack Daniels in front of him, he thought about what he'd do if he ever ran into any of the 3 guys who did this to him. Fuck 'em up real good, that's for sure, he said to himself. Don't make any pit stops, Hunt had told him. Rucker knew that Hunt and Yanny would be pissed. Customers were surely getting antsy by now. He'd been gone for a solid hour. On the bar in front of him, sitting like a piece of kryptonite, lay a Yan sport duffel bag full of weed. No one daring to touch it or inquire about its contents. Coffee shop owners and dealers left their shit on the bar all the time. A street dealer he knew? A Turk who always had a fresh supply of cocaine came over and said, "I got some good stuff today." "I don't think so, asshole. That last stuff I got from you was like sniffing lye." No, this is the good stuff, 100 a gram." "It better fucking be. My nose bled for a week the last time." "Nah, I told you that was the low-grade stuff. This is the primo, I promise." Rucker tilted his head to the side, daring the dude to say another word. "Just meet me in the bathroom, shithead." The dealer scampered off. Rucker stared straight ahead for the next few seconds as Joe Satriani's blistering guitar riffs filled the pub. He slid off his bar stool and casually made his way to the John, where he locked the door behind him. The street dealer was at the sink. He had a line with Rucker's name on it, ready to go. "Check this shit out," the Turk told him. Rucker strutted over to the sink, snorted up the sample, and lost his breath on the way up. He waited a few seconds and said, "You weren't lying, it's good." Turk shot him a sleazy smile. Rucker rolled off 300 Gilder briefs and threw them on the counter. "Now get the fuck out of here." Outside, a fierce cold wind blew, a sure sign that rain was on the way. Not that he cared. He was fucked up, feeling nothing but numbness. He was ready for anything now, or so he thought. Something caught his attention, the door to the coffee shop, flapping in the wind like no tomorrow. Rucker picked up his pace, saw no further action. Seconds passed in slow motion. Why was the door open? After all, it wasn't summer, and as such, no need for the ocean breeze to cool down the joint. From deep within, Rucker Finesse felt an impending sense of doom. He knew something was wrong. Rucker found himself in what would barely be considered a walk, yet not quite a run. This moment, a multitude of things was going through his mind, the worst-case scenario being dead bodies and blood all over the place. It wouldn't be the first time he'd seen such a mess. 20 meters from the shop. No music, no voices, no laughter, nothing. A touch of the wind sent a shiver down his spine. The place had been hit. Bloody fucking hell. He tried to picture the dregs who would hit a shop, especially during the busier part of the day. No less hapless, junked-out scum on something far more than cannabis. No doubt about that. He looked around and saw half-burnt joints in the ashtrays, loose rolling papers scattered around the coffee tables, and a purse with its contents dumped on the floor. It was then that he heard his cell phone ring. "Rucker, where the fuck you at, motherfucker?" he heard Hunt say from the other end of the line. "What is it, my friend?" "Motherfucker's dead, you hear me? Dead, motherfucker." "Who is dead?" "Fucking Yanny, motherfucker. Where the hell you at, cocksucker?" Just then, Rucker saw the dead body behind an overturned table. Yanny Fisser, power broker, the boss's third in line of succession, lay sprawled out on the floor. A pool of blood surrounded him. A dreadful, dreadful sight, Rucker thought instantly. "Listen up real good, motherfucker. You meet me at the flat right now." Rucker gulped a dry knot. "Are you there now?" "Just get your fucking ass over there, you hear me? I'll be there in a minute." "You got some explaining to do." "You must do wait 1 second," Rucker said, and then he heard the line go dead. Hunt saw Rucker. He lunged across the room. "Motherfucker, I ought to kill you right fucking now, you hear me? I told you to come right back, but no, you gotta go down to the pub and get fucked up. God damn, I tried to warn you. Now look at what we got. A motherfucker dead in the shop. Not any dead motherfucker. Yari's fucking brother." Despite his immense build, the platinum gangster struggled to find the words. Shit, what has happened? Yanny got his fucking brains blown out. That's what happened." "Okay, slow down, my friend. You must get a hold of yourself. You must start at the beginning, eh? Start at the beginning? Alright, you left, motherfucker. That's what happened." As Wrecker asked the question, beads of sweat formed on the Dutchman's forehead. Motherfuckers had guns and everything. I don't know, man. Just like that, Yanny got his face blown off. I ain't never seen nothing like it. Somehow I managed to get out the back. Hunt took another deep breath and said, I tried to tell you, man, but you didn't want to listen. You were too worried about hanging out with the rest of the motherfuckers in town. Now look what's happened. I'm done with this shit. I can't take it anymore. It's no good. Look at you. You look like hell. Rucker looked down at his pitiful self and thought, no arguing with him there. Hunt shook his head like an old frustrated housewife dealing with her drunken husband. I'm lucky to be standing here, Rucker. So the Hoff took everything? I don't fucking know. I hauled ass. You tell me. Could you tell where they were from? Rucker asked serenely as possible. I'd be willing to bet Lil. I told you, Rucker. You leave me here for hours. This is what happens. They had guns. Customers were there. It was a fucking mess. Bloody hell, Rucker thought. The boss will blame me for sure. I'm telling you, Rucker, I can't take this shit anymore. Yanny's dead, and I could be lying right next to him. Rucker contemplated the situation. It wasn't good. He'd been away when the hit had gone down. There would probably be more questions than he realized. Listen, I know you're pissed. Let me make up for it. I will go to Constantine and explain the situation, and you wait in town until I call you. I'm sure the boss will want a meeting. I'm sorry, man. I'm so fucked up on this shit I can't think straight. You think? I'll talk to Constantine. He'll understand. Just hang out till I call you. Enjoyed the video tonight? Don't forget to hit the like and leave a comment down below. Or you can go back to the beginning of Dutch Coffee Shop by clicking right here, or just hit that little picture of me down there and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you on the other side.